to the crowd so that I can then post this on my YouTube channel, because I know there are a lot of people who won't be able to make it. I already know, as I said, it's hot as blazes outside, so we're probably all going to hang out in the air conditioning as much as we can today. I've already been to the grocery store and put my groceries away, so that's pretty cool. And when I got out of the car at the grocery store, I was like, oh, I am so glad that I am here at 8 in the morning and that I'm not waiting until after my Zoom call to go to the grocery store. So Tanya, you've got the dry heat. And yeah, she's in Las Vegas, and so it's hot. I'm sure as hot out there, but you know, it's a dry heat, right? So it's
everybody said it's a dry heat, but it's hot.
Like, I lived in Tucson for a couple of years, and so 115 degrees, I don't care if it's humid or not, 115 degrees is like stepping into an oven. It's crazy, so annoying. So and Michael, like, how fun to actually, like, and Lori and Margie, I don't see your picture, and whoever shows up as iPhone 2, I don't know who that is. Valerie, oh my goodness. So this is like so thrilling to actually see people and talk to them. So I can't tell you how much it is. I know your time is limited. I want to try to keep this to an hour so that it doesn't take me a million years to upload to YouTube. But so I'm going to move kind of quickly, but I will stop and pause. So if you have questions, know that I'm going to cover things in like sections, and then I'll stop in case anybody has any questions that they want to ask. You can also just write your questions down and send me messages. I will always accept your friend request if you ask for a friend request. If I accept somebody's friend request and then they start telling me that I have such a beautiful smile and they just found my profile and were so excited for my friend, they immediately get unfriended and blocked, because those are just crazies out there. I get those a lot, but I will always accept your friend request. Hint, if you're a friend with me and you look at my about information, you can actually get my phone number, which I'm not going to take off there, because I've actually had lovely Optavia friends just call me up out of the blue. You will get my voicemail, but I will call you back. So there's that. My email is there. I will always respond to you. You know, I am a coach. I do have clients, but I also look at my social media presence, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, as kind of coaching behind the scenes and backing up your coach and supporting you as well. So I like to coach for free from the sidelines. There are 3 things for me. Let me just tell you first, I started this program in June of 2022. And since that time, I have lost almost 140 pounds following Optavia. The 3 of those pounds were the week before I started Optavia, because I really upped my water and dropped 3 pounds, but I'm tacking that on now because I really have lost 140 pounds. I've got about 15 pounds left to my goal weight, actually less than 15 pounds to get to my goal weight. So I'm hoping in the next 6 to 8 weeks that I am ready to transition. I am super excited. And also, I was telling somebody earlier today, they asked me if I had ever plateaued. To be completely honest, I have never plateaued. I have had 2 weeks where I have gained instead of lost. And that is following a week where I had a really big loss. So I feel like my body dropped and then kind of came back and then went back to losing again. And one of those weeks was last week. And I fully expect that I will have a loss this week. So I have never plateaued, and I attribute that to a few things. Number one, I follow the plan absolutely religiously. I use only water with my fuelings. I don't add syrup. I don't add Laughing Cow. I don't add egg whites when I waffle. None of that. I use only water. Now, I know not everybody does that. Totally fine. Love you. You do your program the way you do, but I'm telling you what I attribute my success to. That, and I stay very organized. That keeps me on track, making these lists, making my menu plans. That really does keep me on track. Like I said, I plan everything and I do a lot of prep. So a lot of days I work from home. I work until 5. I like to eat dinner at 5. And the only way I can do that is by meal prepping so that I have stuff available so that I can take my computer and set it on the island, throw dinner together during the last 20, 30 minutes of work so that when work is done, my dinner is done and we're ready to go. So that is how it works for me. I'm totally aware that it's not going to work that way for everybody, but that's success for me. One of the things that I did at the very beginning was I created a notebook. I created a binder. It's now actually had to be separated into 2 binders. One of my binders has all of my planning stuff in it. So it has a blank, it has blank monthly menus. You can see, I'll post these on somewhere so that you can have all of these, but that's a blank monthly menu. I have all of my menus for the month that have been filled in since I started. Those are all in here. My weekly menus are all in here. I have a page that keeps track of my weight and measurements every week. All of my weekly meal plans are in here. And so I pulled all of those out of my original notebook and have those in a separate one. The other thing I have is a binder that really has all of the Optavia lists. So it's got the vegetable conversion chart. It has the condiment list, the healthy fat list. If you have the new guide, the updated guide, they actually put that into that guide, which is really nice that the vegetable conversion list isn't there, but the condiment list and healthy fat list is in the new guide. So they look exactly the same on the cover. But if you have the one with the green page for the lean and green, that's the old guide. The information in the guides hasn't changed. The lists are still the same, but this is the old one. The new guide has a lean list that looks like this. So you can order, these are like $3. So if you want the new one, get the new one, because the new one actually also has the healthy fat and the condiment list in it. So if you're out and about or you're somewhere and you just have this with you, then you don't have to finagle the other lists as well. But I could not live without the vegetable conversion chart. And I'll tell you, at 58 weeks, you'd think that I would have the weights of things memorized. And really the only one is, I remember Hearts of Palm is 2.57. And I think that's just because so many people ask for that one all the time. That's the only vegetable weight that I have memorized. All the rest of them I look up every single time. And it is so important to weigh, whether you use ounces or grams, it doesn't matter. 90 grams is the same thing as however many ounces that is. It's just a different form of measurement. A lot of times using the grams is easier because it's typically not a fraction. So that's what I end up doing mostly. And then the other thing that I have in here is the recipe conversion guide. And I've talked about that in a previous my Lean and Green 101 video that I did, how to look at the recipe conversion guide, how to create recipes, and you can watch that if you want to see it. But then I also printed out at the beginning a bunch of recipes, put them in page protectors. I've made notes on some of them about whether or not I liked that recipe, but having some of those recipes on hand is great. And I do use that sometimes, but to be honest, I'm more of a just Google it kind of person. And so a lot of times I will use the Optavia app for recipes, but I will also just Google Optavia chicken and I'll see what recipes come up. Or, I'm looking for an Optavia taco recipe or something. Google is my friend. And it really is. A lot of people say to me, oh, you're so smart. You know so much. Let me tell you, Google is my friend. I don't know all of this stuff because I retain facts in my head. I know all of this stuff because I look it up. And I look it up almost every time. So I may look smart, but I'm really not that smart.
It's the glasses.
What?
It's the glasses.
Yeah. I have a million pairs of glasses too. So these, you get the pink leopard glasses today, or whatever they are, tortoiseshell. So before I jump in and actually explain my whole process, does anybody have anything based off of what I just said that I can help you with? Anyone?
I did. Hey, it's Beth Lang. When you were talking about the new guide, I joined in May. Do I have the new guide, or how do I know what the new guide is?
You probably do have the new one. The lean list is on a white page, and it's on page 15 in the guide. So if you're looking in your guide, if your lean list is on page 15, you have the new one. If it's green and it's on page 18, you have the old one.
Okay, I have the white one then. Okay, I just didn't know if there was a date or an upgrade or a version or something on it.
The information is exactly the same. I don't think anything on any of those particular lists have changed at all. Before I go any further on lists, let me also say, I know that there are a lot of other lists floating around there. You are getting things from your coaching groups, your coaches, you're finding them on Optavia groups on Facebook. A lot of those lists, unless the list, I will say it this way, unless the list comes from Optavia, it is likely going to contain things that are not approved for the 5-in-1 based on what Optavia nutrition support will tell you today if you call. There are things like turkey pepperoni, for example. I don't think turkey pepperoni was ever on the Optavia list, but at one point they had recipes on the Optavia app that included turkey pepperoni, which would then tell you that Optavia approves turkey pepperoni, but there was never actually an amount given for how much you could actually have officially from Optavia. They have since changed, and they have taken off. They no longer approve anything that is pre-made at all, unless it is on the condiment or healthy fat list. So all of those meatballs, burgers, chicken sausage, Rayo's marinara sauce, PB2 powder, like all of those things are no longer approved. Now you do you, but I am just sharing this. They have tried to simplify the program as much as they possibly can. They're also trying to encourage us to actually make things and learn how to cook, how to create things ourselves. And so that's, I believe, why they no longer approve all of those things. You do you. If you're in the Optavia newbies group and you post something, however, with Rayo's or turkey pepperoni, you will hear from me, and I will say, I can't leave this up there because we have new clients who are trying to follow the program exactly the way that it's written, and it means nothing on you. You are welcome to eat whatever you want to eat. It is your program. You have to make those choices. But as far as what I do as administrator of the group, I just want to make sure that everybody has, this is what Optavia says. If you want to do social media 5-in-1, you do social media 5-in-1. If you want to do old 5-in-1, do old 5-in-1. But on the newbies page, that's what we do. So that's just a little FYI. Anybody else have questions? Because it's already 15 minutes in. Ooh, I need to take a drink.
Can people mute themselves before you start, because they pop up every time?
Oh, sure. If you're not talking, go ahead and hit the mute button, and then if you have a question, you can unmute to ask a question. That's perfect. I think because it depends on how you're watching this, and if the speaker is your big picture and somebody else starts talking, then I go away and they show up. So I get that. All right. So the first thing that I do, and I do this, this is not something I do every week. This is really what I do once a month. And that before I place my order, I take that blank month and I fill in the blank month with my fueling choices for the month. And the reason why I do that is it makes sure that I get enough of the things that I like and that I don't run out. Now I'm flexible as well. So typically I eat a bar or a already made fueling as my very first fueling. So I don't have to make anything in the morning. I, make my coffee and I grab a bar, or this morning I had the red berry crunchy O's, which I have not had since my very first box, and they actually do taste better now. So, or the cinnamon crunchy O's or the cinnamon sticks. Those are the ones that I kind of play around with for my very first fueling. So that always gets filled in. Then I do, my second fueling is always a breakfast fueling. So it's pancake or oatmeal. My third fueling is always lunch. So it's some kind of soup or potatoes. My fourth fueling is a shake, which I don't usually eat as a shake, but that's neither here nor there. And you can, I will make it as ice cream, or if you use a smaller amount of water, you can actually make it into a very, very soft pudding. But I would rather eat my calories than drink them. So I'm not a huge shake person. And then my last one is always a sweet fueling. At the very beginning, if you go back to some of my very first videos, I talked about, I did not like the brownie. I know, I'm weird, strange, odd. It was gooey and wet. And honestly, I still think if I make it as a brownie just by itself, I probably wouldn't like it, but I use it and I mix it, as you've seen my Fun with Fuelings. I mix that up. So I fill in the fuelings, and I do that for a month so that when I get ready to go for the week, I can look at my monthly calendar, fill in all of my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for every day. So you guys have all seen the blank. Let me pull that up. Let me share my screen here. And I'll show you. So you should be able to see what my blank plan looks like here. So I will fill in the dates, and then I fill in my fuelings 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for every day. And there have been times where since I have a month already done, I will go ahead and fill in more than 1 week. It probably takes me 10 minutes at the most to fill in my fuelings. And this is the point where I will start doing if you don't have this, I can send it to you if you message me or whatever. This is the point when I'm filling this out that I'm like, oh, instead of doing a shake for fueling number 5, I'm going to put shake there, but I'm going to combine it with my pancake, which is fueling number 2, and make shake waffles. And then I will have one as fueling. I will have one as fueling number 2, and I will either save the other one for another day, or I will have the other one as fueling number 4. That takes care of my pancake and my shake. I just make it and divide it, and I'm good to go. So Tanya just posted a really cool one where she did was it the chocolate cookie and the brownie?
Yes, and
Just a minute, Margie. Just a minute, Margie. I'll come back to you.
Yeah, it was really easy. As Lizabeth said, I just used water. I waffled one of the butterscotch brownie, one of the chocolate decadent brownie, and I did them in my Dash Heart little waffle maker. But Lizabeth, I did use a condiment, and I put Laughing Cow cheese in there.
Yeah,
it was so good.
Yeah, but you know what else you could do? It might be hard to do it that way, but I've done the sandwich cookies where I take 3 fuelings. So I make cookies, I make 6 cookies out of 2 fuelings together. And then I use the third fueling as a shake, and I make like a ganache out of it, and I divide it between, and I put it on 3 of the cookies and then top it with the other one. So you could kind of do a similar thing with that. And,
yes, and for like someone's birthday that we just recently had, yeah. I do the same thing. I just kind of food prep a lot of stuff, and I make a lot of like the brownies, and I kind of made like almost like a whoopie pie, I guess, but I filled it with sugar-free Cool Whip, and then I froze them because it's so hot here in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Guess what? There were 3 people who were on plan who ate them, but the rest they had no idea and they loved it. And I stuck a candle in one of them for the person's birthday. So it was fun.
That's awesome. I tell people all the time, even the fuelings, anybody can eat them. And honestly, every once in a while, people are like, oh, it's terrible ingredients. And like, have you read the ingredients? Because the ingredients are literally real food. Like they're the only thing that is chemical in there is the probiotic that they put in there. Like everything else is like brown sugar and wheat germ, and like it's actually real food. So yes, it's processed, but it's literally real food. It's not, there's nothing magical about it. So anyway, so I fill in my fuelings. You do, however you want to do it. Look at what you have. Do you have favorites to put at certain times? But if you plan your week's worth of fuelings, then you are setting yourself up for success. I have shown before how I pull the fuelings, and I have my baggies. And so each day I can just pull a bag. But I will be honest, there are days where I pull the fuelings out of that bag in the morning. And I'm like, you know what? I don't really feel like having a chocolate shake today. I think I'd rather have cinnamon sticks. And so I move things around, and there's it, but I'm prepared ahead of time. So I don't have to do that. If I don't want to do that, I've got what I need ready to go. And so having those fuelings already listed is super helpful. The next thing that I do is I take stock of my refrigerator and my freezer. This is before I start to menu plan. I want to know, do I have leftovers in the fridge that need to get eaten up? None of us like to waste food. And honestly, I spend about $100 a week at the grocery store. And I do that because I don't waste anything. I make sure we eat leftovers, or I move them to the freezer labeled to have later. I look to see what produce do I have that I have to eat up this week. So I know I've got an English cucumber. I've got to use that up this week. I bought extra romaine and leaf lettuce last week that I need to use up this week. Hey, I'm having salads this week. So this was perfect. It's a hot week. I'm just making salads. I've already got my lettuce. I've already got my cucumber. I've got tomato plants in the front and the back, pepper plants at the front and the back. So I'm covered as far as produce goes. When I went to the grocery store today, I actually only bought mushrooms and radishes. Those are the only things that I needed to get off the list, because I had avocados, I had lemons, I had everything on my list to get. So check what produce you have that needs to be eaten. Keep that in the back of your mind. And then, do you have proteins in the freezer? You don't want to leave protein in the freezer for too long. So what do you have that, I'll buy a big package of chicken breasts, and I will, if I don't cook them all at once, I will package them in smaller packages to pull out. Or, I'll do that with pork chops, or I'll buy a big pork tenderloin and I'll cut it up into like chops. So I have boneless chops, and I will put, 3 or 4 or 5 in a bag, and know that, that's going to be a meal. So I keep stock. I actually have 3 freezers in the garage. That sounds really bad. But my husband's a hunter. So the chest freezer is venison. We have a refrigerator that has a freezer at the top, which has all
Your
that.
dad is baby, aren't you? Yeah.
And then we
Yep.
have a big stand-up freezer. And if you use dry erase markers, you can write on the front of your refrigerator freezer, and Windex or alcohol or hand sanitizer all work to clean that all off. So I keep a list on my outside of my freezer of what proteins I have in there, anything else that I know I need to rotate and move through that. So I take stock of that, so that when I go to the grocery store again today, I bought what did I buy today? Oh, I bought salami for my husband. I had salmon in the freezer. I have chicken in the freezer. I have turkey in the freezer. I have canned tuna in the pantry. I didn't have to buy any proteins. He wanted some salami, so I bought salami for him. But that is one way that I keep my grocery budget down, is to not buy things that I don't need. So if I didn't have to buy a freaking $9 bottle of a jar of pickles because I like the good pickles and not the ones that you buy on the, then I probably would have bought some extra protein to freeze, which is something that I do, but I keep an eye on what I'm spending at the store so that I really do try to keep it right as close to $100 as I can. So once I have taken stock of my freezer, then I also have basically a meal pattern. So I know that I'm going to eat leftovers twice a week. Sometimes if I don't have leftovers, that's when I do pizza on Friday. If I don't have leftovers, I might do a salad. But typically 2 days out of 7 is leftovers. So no cooking for me for that typically. I do try to do 2 fish/seafood meals because that's good for you to have more fish. If I lived in Florida or somewhere close to the ocean, I probably would eat fish 6 or 7 times a week because when we go down to Alabama or Florida for vacation, I pretty much eat fish the entire time that I'm gone because I absolutely love fish. But so 2 days a week is usually that. And then another 2 days is some sort of poultry or pork. So turkey, chicken, pork are all leaners. And so that goes in there. And then the other meal alternates between a meatless meal and a red meat meal. So this week is a meatless meal because last week, I don't even remember what I did for red meat, but I did something, maybe tacos. I don't remember. But I do try to limit the amount of red meat for both me and my husband. You know, we all need to be healthy. It has nothing to do with Optavia. It has everything to do with just taking care of your heart and your cholesterol levels and just reducing the amount of red meat that you eat. And so that's typically what I do. And once I have that in mind, and that is all already ingrained in my head anyway, then I start to choose recipes. So before I go into there, I'm going to pause again and have some water and ask if anybody has any questions. Go for it, Christiane.
It's actually quite a simple question. I'm still new, so I'm like week 6 right now. And I was wondering, can you make a shake out of every powdered fueling?
You probably can. I've done it with a brownie before. I know people have accidentally done it with, I've seen people say, oh, I grabbed the mashed potatoes and a milkshake. I was like,
I wouldn't go that far. I do
But-
waffle them quite a bit, but I'm very much like you. I do not hack. I don't put anything into any of my fuelings.
Right.
I have put a little bit of rum extract in my brownie, and it's like for the nighttime snack.
Yeah.
And it's the rum extract, not real rum. And it was absolutely phenomenal. It tastes so good. But my other question was, do you think it has any kind of effect on when you eat? So for example, I'm a nurse, I work 11:30 to 8. And if I'm not super organized, as you just said, and I try to be, but it just days happen where I'm not, then I eat at like 8:15 or so. I work from home, but then I eat at 8:15 and then I have to wait for my brownie for 2 hours. So it's not like you eat lean and green and you have a brownie for dessert. You still have to space out that time.
Right.
So now I'm running into a 10 o'clock meal finish, kind of day finish. Do you think that has an effect on the weight or weight loss? Should we be done like, the traditional way was like you shouldn't be eat later than 7 or something like that? Do you think it has an effect on this, or?
I think that, and Tanya can correct me because she's been on the program a lot longer than I have, that you do need to continue to fuel your body every 2 to 3 hours. So if you are up longer, so you've been eating every 2 to 3 hours, you need to either push your fuelings to 3 hours apart so that you can stop eating later in the day. Or if you've been doing that, or you get to the end of the day and you realize I am not going to bed for a couple more hours you do need to add in another fueling. My coach had told me a shake is the best thing to add at the end of the day because it's one of the lightest ones. But you do want to make sure that you are maintaining that blood sugar level. And that's the reason why we eat every 2 to 3 hours is to keep
Yeah,
your
and I
blood
do.
sugar
I usually eat 2.5 to 3 hours, depending on if I have patients scheduled, if I have
Right.
coaching calls or anything like that, then I can't just sit and eat honey mustard sticks,
Right.
so.
Right. Yeah, I think, on those days when you're working, you have to do the best that you can do.
So you think that if I eat the brownie or take the shake at like 9:30, 10 o'clock, it does not necessarily mean that you're losing less?
No, I eat my last fueling and I'm asleep within an hour of eating it. I do go to bed early, but I also wake up super early. So I think you're doing great as long as you continue to fuel yourself. And I
get my 5 fuelings in every day, so that's not an issue. But I was wondering whether I should not eat too late. So,
no, definitely.
Thank you for letting me talk.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Anybody else have anything?
I was just gonna say, I drink about everything.
Yeah, I saw you had your little comment on there.
I do. I am on the road all the time. I sell real estate. I never know what my hours are gonna be. I keep everything with me, and I just kind of always have my water, and I always keep a little cup. And if I have to shake up a pancake, I shake up a pancake. When my timers go off, I set it at 2.5 hours. It gives me a half hour on one side, half hour on the other. And I just get it in. And the other day I was driving down the road, took my straw, put some in the cookie packet, rubbed the thing together and took my straw and ate the cookie dough like that. Because my timing's my days are just crazy. I don't know when I'm going to be where. So I get them down. I just get them down.
Anybody do that before? That is fabulous. Tanya.
Hey, Lori, I just wanted to share with you because a lot of my clients who are on program with me have always challenged me to do interesting things with the fuelings, and I don't, modify them. So I have literally tried every shake and coffee, all the ones that you would think would be the eating ones, like the cookie, like same thing. They make a wonderful shake. One of my favorites is like even the chocolate chip cookie that you can make into a shake, and you just add a little bit of ice and it makes like a I don't know what you call them, like a smoothie kind of thing, but I have done the same thing, Lori, and they've been awesome. And it's so easy. That's what I love about our program, because it's so versatile. You can exchange any of those fuelings and kind of do them any way you want, which is really kind of cool.
This program works for me because I just don't have time, but at the end of my night, I have everything ready to go to throw something in quick whenever I get home, if it's 7:30 or whatever. But it's just easy that way.
The important thing is that you're making time. So you are making the program work, and that is awesome because you're finding how flexible this is in order for it to work for you. So that's great.
In the beginning, I thought it had to be 2 hours. And then after I kind of deep dived into some of your stuff, I realized 3 hours. And I was like, oh, that gives me a half hour on either side if I do 2.5 hours.
Yep. And I'm typically like 2.5 to 2:45. Occasionally I end up pushing to 3 hours. Sometimes my last fueling is 2 hours after my lean and green, just because I want to go to bed, and girl likes her sleep. And so I end up, a lot of times my last fueling is about 2 hours after dinner, but hey, I'm losing. So I'm guessing it works. So anybody else have anything? All right. So, nope. Okay. So here we go. So I'm going to choose, I'm going to go through my desired meals, and I know I'm going to do salmon. I know I'm going to do tuna. I know I'm going to do blah, blah, blah. And you guys have seen, I'm going to pull up my menu plan for today. I've fortunately figured out how to share my screen, which is a lot of fun. So
1741.
So this is my plan for this week. This is the one that I posted on Facebook this morning. You can see I went through and I put in all of my fuelings. And then I checked all of my lean and greens. And everything, all of my lean and greens this week are actually, with the exception of the salmon, are recipes that I've actually have videos for. And that was not intentional. I just wanted to do salads this week. And then if you look, like I have like shake as ice cream. In a few places, I have the waffle, which is a pancake and a shake. So where it says number 1, the number 2 is down there on Thursday, where it says made on Tuesday. So I will stick those in the fridge. But the sandwich cookie is on there. That's also a video that I have. I use the potato as soup almost all the time, and I just whisk about 1.5 cups of boiling water into a thermos with the potato and then seal it up, and then that's good to go. So I have all my fuelings in there. I have all of my lean and greens in there. And as I'm making the list, I make sure that I look, is it a lean, a leaner, or a leanest? And I make sure that I have the healthy fats, especially for these things that are salads. Most of them are ones that I'm going to throw together. So that's my reminder there that I need to add 2 healthy fats or 1 healthy fat to that meal. The chicken salad on romaine, I'm going to have to add the healthy fat because it's just going to be a chicken salad that's got condiments in it, but it doesn't have the healthy fat. So that's just my little reminders there. And then once I have that, then let me pull up the other one. Then I do my grocery list, which I think is this one right here. Yep. So this is my grocery list from that. And you can see where anything that has a blue star by it, and I try to stick with the same color just for other people's sanity. Anything that's got a blue star by it is for my husband. So the salami was for him, the milk, the half and half, the eggs for him, the onion is for him. Although I think in one of my recipes, I do need like a tablespoon of onion in my tuna recipe. Flour, vegetable oil, popcorn, that's all for him. And not for me. I do still bake for my husband. I will, and some days it's really hard, and some days it's not as hard. I recently made was very difficult for me to remember when I was taking it out of the pan and putting it into the plastic container, not to lick the knife or my fingers. Like sometimes it can be really difficult. So what I do is I open up all of the recipes, and whether I have it in a book written out or I just pull up, what I did today was I just pulled up all my YouTube videos and looked at the description box under the video, and I just started pulling my ingredients off of all of those things. And then I went through with my orange marker and I marked off all of the things that I already had so that I didn't buy those in the grocery store. Now, I also realized after I did this that I did have the salmon, so I didn't have to buy that. I did have the lemon and the avocado and the lime, so I didn't have to buy that. So there are things that I realized after I did this that I didn't have to buy at the grocery store. But that is, in a nutshell, that is the very simple process of how I make my grocery list. Now, let me tell you a couple of things about why a grocery list is important. I have been menu planning and grocery list making this exact same way for the last 35 years. We've always been on a budget. And when the kids were little and at home, I would menu plan 3 meals and snacks. So, my grocery list was considerably longer, but I've always set it up this way: protein, dairy, seasonings, produce, miscellaneous. Bread and frozen used to be on there, but I don't buy bread. I make bread for my husband now. And I very rarely do frozen things. So if it's like frozen vegetables, I'll just put them on the miscellaneous list. Creating a grocery list really does save you money. because you are only buying what you need. And because you're taking stock of what you already have, you have less that's going to waste. I'm not going to throw away any lettuce, tomato, cucumber, any of that stuff, because I am using it before it goes bad, because I paid attention to what is in my fridge. It also will save you temptations. So you're not walking up and down every aisle going, oh, that looks really good. I do shop mostly on the outside of the store. So produce, protein, dairy. I do have to get some things from the middle aisles, which is typically that miscellaneous column. The baking aisle and the canned vegetable and the pasta, like pasta aisle, because I get palmini at the grocery store, those aisles, or salsa or whatever, I think in my grocery store, the Italian, the Mexican, and the Asian are all on the same aisle, which is really nice. It really does keep you from walking past the ice cream, walking past the frozen foods, walking past things that you're like, oh, that sounds really good. I wonder if you don't walk past it, if you don't see it, you're not likely to buy it. And if you're shopping with a list in mind, before I walk into that baking ingredients aisle, I've already said to myself, almond flour, sea salt, vegetable oil. I know those 4 things are in my head. That's all I'm looking at. I'm not going to walk past the spices. I'm going to walk past the brownie mixes, but I'm not going to even look at them, because my brain is not thinking that. My brain is thinking almond flour, vegetable oil, and sea salt. And that's all I look at. That's what I grab, and then I get out of that aisle. So that is saving me from temptation, and it literally saves time. Like I said, I was out of my car and back into my car with the groceries loaded in my car in less than 20 minutes. And that is a full grocery shopping for a full week, because I have my list and I literally shop only my list. I have had, just last night, somebody posted, and this happens quite often, somebody posted a picture of some Mission cauliflower tortillas and asked if they could have it. And here's always my response, and this should be ingrained in your head. Is it on the lean list in the guide? Is it on this list? Cauliflower tortilla wraps? Nope. Is it on the vegetable conversion chart? Nope. Cauliflower is, but cauliflower wraps are not on the vegetable conversion chart. Is it on the healthy fat list that's in your guide or that you've printed out? Nope. Is it on the condiment list? Nope. Does it fit the healthy fat guidelines? Are they 45 to 60 calories? Do they have 4.5 to 6 grams of fat? Do they have less than 5 or less grams of carbs? Nope. Those had 16 or 14 or 16 carbs in them. So that should have automatically told you no. So no. And does it fit the condiment list? 30 calories or less, 1 gram of carbs or less? Nope. Can't have it. Can I have sugar-free Red Bull? Well, it has 10 calories and 2 carbs. Can you have sugar-free Red Bull? No, it's not on any of those lists. So before you even start walking down aisles and going, oh, cauliflower crackers, I wonder if I can have those. No, you can't. They're not a lean protein. They are not a vegetable. Even if they're made with vegetables, they're made with other things too. They're not a healthy fat. They are not a condiment. Walk away. Walk away. So that is my pointing my fingers and saying, stop asking those gosh darn questions. I'm kidding. Ask the questions. But it does, honestly, it saves that temptation. It saves you time. It saves you money if you can just create your grocery list and shop from the grocery list. Now, do you need to menu plan for an entire week? No. Maybe you like to shop every 2 or 3 days. And so you want to plan 2 or 3 meals, grocery shop for those 2 or 3 days. But I live out in the middle of nowhere. For me to go to a decent grocery store that's not super Walmart, and my super Walmart's actually pretty good because it's out in the middle of nowhere, and so it doesn't get a lot of traffic, but it has very limited products in it. So most of the time, if I really need to grocery shop, then I have to drive 40 minutes to get to a decent grocery, to get to Kroger or Publix. It's a 40-minute drive for me. So I don't do that every week to that grocery store. So that's another reason why I try to live off of what I have in the freezer or what I have in the fridge already. But for me, it works better to go every week, go once a week and plan for once a week. So, you have to do what works best for you. If you only want to cook one meal, you want to cook one big meal and you want to eat off of that for 3 or 4 days, do that. But I love to cook. And so I tend to cook just enough for the two of us, or I cook a larger amount and put stuff in the freezer for other meals. But I will cook pretty much every day. 5 days a week is pretty much what I do. Questions before I get my last little point in? Anybody? All right, so the last thing that I have is to meal prep what you can. And I talked about, I think I might have talked about it at the very beginning, but like tomorrow, I'm not going to do it today, but tomorrow I will cook my turkey, my taco turkey meat for the week. I will do some chicken breast for the chicken salad. I will make my chicken, I'll have to cook the chicken and make the chicken salad. So I'll make the tuna salad, the chicken salad, the turkey for the taco salads, and I will prep some vegetables and have those things cut up so that everything is super easy, grab and go. But meal prep what you can if you want to have easy dinner prep when it comes to dinner time. The more you can have cut up vegetables you can cut up ahead of time, or things that you can cook and prepare ahead of time, is my best recommendation for how to plan and prepare. So that was easier than I thought it would be. So did I answer questions? Do you have questions? Does it make sense? What can I tell you? Christiane, what you got?
I had a quick question for you in regards to the burgers. And I know the burgers are now off the list in regards to like pre-packaged burgers, I believe. So, but we are okay to use like a 93%, ground beef and make our own burgers.
Right. Yes. So ground beef, it says like on the lean list, if it's 85 to 94% lean, then that's a lean. If you get even leaner beef, then if it's 95 to 97%, which is probably some of the leanest you can find, that's a leaner and needs then a healthy fat on top of it.
Correct. But so it's definitely, we shouldn't be buying any burgers from.
I would say look at the ingredients. So I know I can go in Walmart and Super Walmart and I can buy ground beef already in patty form, but it's just ground beef.
Nothing added.
Ground turkey, and it's got stuff in it, like seasoned stuff in it. That's where I would go, I don't really know. I don't know how much is in there. Do I count that as a single condiment or is it 2 condiments worth? Like there's really no way.
Yeah, because we don't know.
That. So you're better off if you want to season something to make your own seasoned turkey burgers or whatever. But I would say like those pre-made beef patties, as long as it's beef and it's not something else added, I would use those without any trouble.
Good. And then one more question I had, I'm always getting confused with the almond milk. And I know there's a lot of talk about almond milk on the side. And because I'm still so new, sometimes I'm like, should I do this? So I always buy refrigerated, unsweetened almond milk. I'd never add it to my lean and green or anything. I wouldn't know where to add it to. But if I make my shakes with half a cup of refrigerated, unsweetened almond milk, and I have, let's say, 3 shakes a day because it's one of those days, or right now I'm hovering for the last 3 days and I want to just do maybe shakes only, that would be 1.5 cups of almond milk.
Right.
And of course I would put water in, like half a cup of water, half a cup of almond milk. Is that okay?
So that would be that you would have to count that as condiment. So unsweetened almond milk, you can have a whole cup as a condiment. So if you're having a cup and a half, you have to count that as 1.5 condiments.
And we can have how many condiments?
3.
A day.
Correct.
Okay. Not just, we don't have to put that. It's not that we have to have 3 condiments in one meal. We can disperse the condiments as we see them.
If you choose to do that, yes, you can do that. Yeah. And
Okay.
Optavia
Yeah, 'cause I'm
Nutrition
very, very
Support will
careful
tell
with
you
it.
that is totally fine to do that, to spread, which is a little contradictory to me because it actually in the guide itself under condiments, it says a condiment serving should contain no more than, it says you can enjoy up to 3 condiment servings per lean and green meal. So it says in the guide, they should go with the lean and green meal, but I've also talked to nutrition support and they said, as long as you count them, and don't go over during the day, then you can apply those in other places. I've made the choice not to do that, but if, I know a lot of people will do almond
With
milk
the almond
cereal.
milk, I just feel that I never have any use for it. Otherwise, I drink my coffee black and I don't put anything else on that would require almond milk. So getting the shakes, to taste a little bit better with other than just water, it feels like if that's okay, then I will continue to do that.
You can do that. Yeah, totally fine.
I have 2 quick questions. One, what's your thoughts on PB2 powder? And 2, I see a lot of people making like the potato things as waffles for like the hamburger buns.
Mhm.
So they'll eat their fueling with their meal.
Right.
How's that work?
So PB2 powder, I actually emailed nutrition support and I personally got a response from them that says PB2 powder is for maintenance and not for weight loss. I think at one point there was a list somewhere that said PB2 powder was an optional snack. And there is whatever that giant food list says that on it. I've seen some, but those are not Optavia lists. And if you ask Optavia, they will tell you, save PB2 powder for maintenance. When I first started, I did not know that. And so I do have a couple of recipes on my YouTube channel. One of them is the Thai lettuce wraps. And the other one I changed the graphic for the chocolate bar that uses PB2 powder. But once I found that out from Optavia, I don't use it anymore. But like I said, you got to make that choice for yourself. According to them, they don't want you to use it until you're in maintenance. As far as using a fueling with a lean and green, if you, in my opinion, again, I'm not the boss, but in my opinion, if you need to split your lean and green, one of the ways that you can split your lean and green and still only eat 6 times is to combine half of your lean and green with a fueling. That would be an instance where I would see that you could do that. People have talked about making burger buns out of the potatoes, breading chicken or something with the crushed up cruncher things. I've seen that. I've never done that because mine are all separate. But the only thing I've ever added to a lean and green is an optional snack when I use pickles in my tuna salad or on a burger or whatever. But I think that is fine. I don't think that it's good practice all the time. And my thought process on that is the the design of the program is for you to be eating 6 very small meals, most of them around 100 calories, and then one larger meal that's around 300 to 500 calories. If you're messing with that, what that does is it basically is keeping your blood sugar steady and giving your body just enough to burn so that it doesn't go into starvation mode, and so that it will then burn some fat before you fuel it again. If you give it too much, so if you add in, this is my thought process here, so this is not like scientific, it's in a guide anywhere. If I'm adding egg whites to a fueling, I've added protein and calories to that fueling, that my body not only has to burn through that fueling, but it's got to burn through that extra protein before it can start burning fat, which it might not get a chance to do by the time I add another fueling to it. Do you see what I mean? So that's how my brain has worked through this, and why I think that I've been as successful as I have, because I haven't given my body extra things to burn with each fueling. It's like you burn through that 100 calories and you burn fat, baby, after that until I fuel you again. And so that's what my opinion is on that. But I do know that there are people who have to split their lean and greens because of their 12-hour shifters, or they're on a long, they're up for extended periods of time, or they've had gastric bypass, sleeve, whatever, and they can only eat small amounts at a time. And because of that, they have to divide their lean and greens. You have to make the program work for you. And so that's why I love everybody, no matter how they choose to follow the program. I will love you and support you. I will always share what I think, but I will do it I just don't ever hear that I'm judging you for your choices, because they're your choices and you are the one that has to live with the consequences, not me. So I just share what works best for me and answer questions that way. Hopefully that helps.
I'll tell you, I started May 1st and I've had good success, but then I started just to kind of that plateauing, and I kept thinking, man, I'm doing this right. I'm doing this right. And last weekend I watched your 101, then I watched a whole bunch of other stuff you put out there. And I just made the decision I was going to do the program 100%, like you were saying that the program should be done by. And I'm so far, like tomorrow will be the week of that. And I've lost 3.8 pounds this week. So
Wow.
I believe everything you're saying now, because I was struggling every week, like barely a pound or barely an ounce. So
yeah,
what you're saying is, I'm like, oh. So my husband goes, so you've been cheating all this time? I said, no, I didn't think so. I thought I was doing it right, but apparently I wasn't.
That's always, there's nothing wrong. I like Optavia says, move the condiments around if you want to, but honestly, if you find that you have hit a plateau, you're struggling to lose, maybe you need to just say, all right, so for this week, I'm just going to not do that. And I'm just going to use water, and I'm going to save my condiments for my lean and greens, and see if it changes anything in your weight loss.
Yeah, I chose this week to just do all powdered fuelings because I'm so quick to add bars. And I thought, you know what, so now I've got all these powdered fuelings, and I'm always running low on bars because of my lifestyle, but I just did all powdered fuelings, and it was a struggle because I just got my case of all my chocolate bars come in. But I just stuck with powdered and stuck with the plan and stuck with the times. And I'm just really excited how this week turned out for me. So yeah, thank you.
I'm right there with you. I think I'm going to just do powdered fuelings and no bars.
And see how that goes for you.
Yeah.
Watch
Really
her 101 video. I highly recommend. I learned so much from that video. I'm not even kidding you. So
yeah, no, I will for sure.
All right, whoever me not you is, because you have your hand up. Do you have a question? I don't have a name. Nope.
They left.
Tanya, what you got? Okay, I just, as we were talking, Lizabeth, I just I'm trying to figure out. I'm not trying to overstep, but it was literally for me so I could just print off copies, because
Yes.
unfortunately I'm not a fish eater, so I like to substitute some of my things. So anyways, I think I've found a way to share that, so that link is in the comment if anybody wants it, so that they can
Thank
just build
you.
out their own. So
Thank
that's
you.
for all of you. But I was also going to come on and authentically tell you, you know, I have been a coach. I've been on my journey. I recently kind of went through transition, but I've had so much going on that I've been off. So I just wanted to thank you, Lizabeth, because you know I follow you. You know I try to. Sorry.
Hey,
like
New Hampshire girls got to stick together, man.
But
Tanya
I
and
just
I are
wanted to
both
share.
from New Hampshire.
I learned so much from you. So I wanted to say thank
Aw.
you. And as a coach, I am going to be on the next part of my journey. I kind of reset my goal, and I'm doing it like you, Lizabeth. I'm doing it like the boss, because I just have learned so much from you. And I'm just so excited. I'm so excited to be here, and you're so inspirational. And I just had to say it to you. I really did. So thank you for all you do.
You're
And
welcome.
here we go.
That's
Here we
right.
go.
That's
So
right.
this
You can do it.
is
more.
That's awesome. Guys, I like, honestly, this, if I could do Zoom meetings every day and talk to you guys, it like, you have no idea. I say this in my reality check all the time, but hearing from people and talking to people, that is what feeds my soul. Like, honestly, it's like the biggest reward to see your faces, even if you don't say anything. You showing up is a huge encouragement to me. And I so appreciate just having an hour to sit with you guys and hopefully encourage you and cheer you on. Yeah, Living in the Light on YouTube, that's my YouTube channel. And if you haven't checked that out, please do. I don't know how you haven't heard about it at this point, because I post stuff all the time. I've been kicked out of a couple of Facebook groups for sharing my videos, but that doesn't stop. If you share my videos, then it's not self-promotion and they will stay there. So by all means, if you're on any Facebook groups and somebody asks a question, share my videos. Just copy the link to a video and share it, or create a post and share it. I'm really excited at the growth of the channel, and the opportunity to encourage people and help people. That just, it just blows my mind. So I've got like 3,000 clients who are not really. I have 6 clients, but and I am not looking for a lot of clients, just because I work and I love my job. My boss, not my boss, my global director on Optavia is Leanne Goff. She's on the board. I don't know if anybody else is in that coaching line. She would love it if I would have 20 clients, but I love my job, and I'm not going to quit teaching, and I'm not going to quit my customer service job that I do. I love teaching homeschoolers, and I teach online and get to work from home, and I'm not quitting that job. So I have to limit the number of clients that I have, because I have to grade 60 essays every week once the school year starts, and that takes a lot of time. So anybody else have anything? I've talked a lot about me.
I just wanted to ask one more question, and then I'm going to shut up.
No, ask all questions you want.
No, I know there was one Zoom call where you guys were talking about the elements in the life book.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if there was any way, and I know you have already so much to do, but maybe there's some interest from other people that want to go through the life book together. Like I read, but I also put the book aside very fast as soon as I start scrolling on Optavia pages.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that is going to come back, or is it already?
Yeah. So
a group that
Element 4, we're doing a Zoom call for Element 4 on Monday night. So I'm doing them on Monday nights, and I know that conflicts with some people's Optavia coaching group calls, but that's just the time that works best for me. So Monday night, and it's going to be every other week barring any holidays or whatever. We'll skip Labor Day if it happens to fall there. So the next one is this coming Monday, element 4. The first 3 elements are recorded and available on my YouTube channel. The first 2 are under you have to click the live in order to see those 2, because I did those as YouTube lives. But element 3 was done as a Zoom call, and then I just uploaded it to my YouTube channel. And so that's just available. You can check that out. And yeah, that's the plan, is just to do this every other week. You have element 4, go through element 4 or not, doesn't matter. You don't have to have gone through it in order to attend. And we're just going to discuss what element 4 says. And I try to connect some of the habits of health too. Somebody talks about habits of health, getting that in there. Tanya.
I have to go, everybody. I'm so sorry. It has been a pleasure.
Thanks,
so I look forward
Tanya.
to seeing
Thanks
you
for
the next
coming.
time. Bye, everybody.
Anybody else have
Bye.
anything for me before we go?
Now, what time is that on Monday?
It'll be at 6 p.m. Central.
Okay, so 7 East.
Yep.
And then it will be uploaded in your channel because I'm working till 8. So
Yes.
perfect.
Yes. Yep. Anybody else have anything for me? All you lovely ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm so glad you guys came. And look, we did it in just a little over an hour. So I won't, it'll probably take like 3 hours for it to process and upload, but it should be up there at some point today or tomorrow. Again, please reach out to me, message me. I'll respond to you. Many of you have messaged me. I'm so happy to be able to just support you and answer questions and encourage you and be your friend and be your cheerleader. And yeah, so I've walked the road almost all the way to the end. I'm a little bit leery of transition, but I will get through it.
Yay.
And I'm planning the heck out of it already, so we'll get there. So, all right.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you.
You're welcome, guys. Thanks for
Take care,
coming.
guys.
Have a
It's
great
a pleasure.
Saturday, great weekend.
You
Bye.
too.
Bye.
Stay cool.
I'll try. Bye.